Hello everyone, Zelrant here, and for today's video on Girls Frontline 2, we have a new Gunsmoke Frontline boss. And so I've taken a little bit of a look at him and his skills here, but I haven't really had much time. As you can currently see, I'm currently on vacation to really try him out. So I thought we'd just kind of go through his skills overall, what you might want to take to bring with them, and then we'll kind of do a showcase of the fight. I will be using the Hydro Corrosion team, the new team, which I would consider the meta team at this point, which brings Springfield and Tololo alongside Aklukai, Mishti, and Peridia. We'll see how well they can do against this boss. And so let's just go right into here on the Gunsmoke Frontline boss here. And so this one is the Berserker Barbarity. And so we go in, kind of take a look at his skills. The big thing is, of course, he has what we see with a lot of the bosses. I think pretty much every single one of them have had at this point. So if he's Instability Break, deals AoE physical damage, 50% attack to all targets within 5 tiles, applying a debuff called King Carving. And so this one is you take damage at the end of your turn. It's basically a little dot. But if you do get rid of it and cleanse it, you get Critical Cascade, which increases critical damage up to by 10% up to 10 stacks, so 100% critical damage. Going to be very useful to have a lot of debuffs within your team. But the key thing here is the last part. For every 3 enemy units hit, gains 1 stack of shock in all over 2 turns, and this is a 10% damage increase on it. So this is another one where you're wanting to bring a summon. One thing is we do not have Nikita yet for the Hydra team. Nikita has a summon herself, which can be used to bring you up to that 6 units for a lot of the bosses in the future when it comes to the Hydra team. But at this point, we do not have that, so you're going to need someone like Papa Shaw to take care of that. But in this case, with the Hydro Corrosion team, we're going to actually sacrifice that extra 10% just so we can utilize this team and try it out. But just know that Papa Shaw is still going to be valued on this boss, and for a little bit longer until we get a couple more units that have summons that you can include, Nikita being one of the big ones. So that's a passive there. You have your typical passive you see pretty much with every boss. If they're not in Stability Break, damage is reduced. And so let's go look through the skills now. First skill here selects the closest and farthest targets, dealing physical damage equal to 100% of attack to them. If this unit has Rock Solid, so this is actually a buff that the boss will give them, they will get stunned for 1 turn. And what Rock Solid is that stability damage taken is reduced by 2 points and defense increased by 30%. Considered a buff. If this buff is cleansed, it is converted to Splintered Defense A for 2 turns. Splintered Defense A, stability damage taken is increased by 2 points and defense is reduced by 30%. Considered a debuff, cannot be cleansed. This is a key thing with this. This boss is going to use another skill to apply it. And so it depends on which one do you want. Do you want to take the stun when he uses this attack on those units? Or are you willing to take it where now they take more damage? You can set this up in multiple ways. I don't think it's currently too big of a deal, especially if you have a really good sustain, to just cleanse this and deal with the extra damage. For the simple fact that the stun pretty much shuts down that unit, while the debuff you get from it, Splinter Defense, is just taking more damage ultimately. And it's much easier to deal with that when you're trying to... when this is still kind of just a DPS check like a lot of other bosses. Now, that is actually applied on this skill right here, Omnidirectional Sweep. This one deals AoE physical damage that ignores cover equal to 100% of attack to all enemy units on the battlefield. They gain Rock Solid, which is that buff we just talked about, and generates a shield with an absorption rate. He generates a shield with an absorption rate value equal to 10% of max HP. While the shield is active, final damage taken is reduced by 30%. When it is broken, the boss gets Splinter Defense B, which defense is then reduced by 10%. This one is pretty big here, but this shield is a very tanky shield. You already know the Gunsmoke Frontline bosses have a ton of health. 10% of HP is a lot of health that you're having to bust through on the shield. Then you also have his other 2 skills here. Selects an enemy target with the highest HP, marking the area 2 tiles of it at the start of the next turn. Deals AoE physical damage equal to 60% of attack to all enemy units in the marked area, and applies Echoed Aggression for 2 turns. Echoed Aggression, after this unit makes an active attack during its turn, it receives a counterattack from the Berserker. This is another key part of his kit, and I think this is what really helps with Springfield. Also, some units like Macchiato because you can use this to cause him to counterattack, which then triggers allied units, ambushes, counterattacks, and support attacks. Macchiato will counterattack. Springfield will counterattack with her bird slash little robot companion. And any other unit that has that kind of attacks. It will then... His attack deals physical damage equal to 80% of the Berserker's attack. Cannot be cleansed. Really nice one right here. Just for the simple fact you can use this to kind of control counterattacks from him. And then you have the last skill here. Selects one direction dealing AoE physical damage equal to 70% attack to all enemy units in a forward-facing direction 5x4 tile area and applies Keen Carving for 2 turns. Remember, this is that debuff that we already talked about where they can take damage on the turn basis. But if you cleanse it, you get that 10% critical damage increased. So you're actually going to want to have all your units, in my opinion, nice and tight on each other so they can all take advantage of this, especially if you have an AoE cleanse. At least get your DPS to trigger this. And so that is his kit. Nothing too crazy there that we haven't already seen before. The biggest thing is that shield is very, very tanky from being 10%. So let's go ahead and try this. This is going to be actually my first attempt at it, so we'll go ahead and just see how well this new corrosion team. Now, I've reshuffled my loadout here for it. So now we have the full team setup here. And I do have someone who has a V6 Peridia, so we're going to actually borrow the Peridia in this case. So let's see right here. And we're going to see how well this team can do. They do want lethal firepower. That's going to get maximum damage. And I do have Tololo's expansion key, so she will be able to go a lot of turns here. So let's just see how difficult this boss really is. Alright, we got the boss up here. Now let's go ahead and get our units all in position. Now, if you remember, we do want to have them all together. And so I think what we'll do is we'll have Springfield, or we'll have Klukai up here, since she'll have the easiest time getting all the way back down here. Springfield right there, and Tololo will keep right next to Springfield. And then we'll just have... Oh, wrong one. I think this is the way to go. Because Klukai will get down real easily. First thing is, just get him stability broken. Okay, so let's go in here. Let's have Mishti just go right here. Do her ultimate. Peridia will come in. We just basically have her in here to get counterattacks or do her support actions. Now, actually, I don't want to use her first. What am I doing? I need to get my defense down from her first. So let's just come in with Klukai. These first attacks are all going to be pretty weak. But just wait till you see the damage ramp up here. This is just a setup. And Klukai is, while she's going to do great damage, is not going to be our biggest damage dealer. Then take Klukai right here. And the biggest reason, the reason I want to also get them together is he is about to start applying some of that stuff to us here, so that we can just cleanse as soon as they all start getting stacks of that debuff to get the crit damage increase. So let's go ahead and just bring Peridia in here. We'll just go ahead and do her ultimate. Nothing too crazy about her. She's here for the support actions. Next big thing is now going to be Springfield. Immediately put this onto Tololo. This allowed Tololo. Biggest thing I screwed up that I had to reset for was on Tololo. It's ultimate, skill 2, skill 1. If you don't do it every time in that order, some of the times it did not give me all 3 attacks. So just make sure you're doing it in the correct order. So you go from ultimate, the skill 2, and then skill 1. Boom. Puts the debuff on everybody. As you can see, the little red hearts. This is that one that when cured, they'll get a stack for a crit damage increase. So first thing I'm going to do, Springfield's going to go in here and throw out her ultimate. hearing that. Now we have her bird out here for the counterattacks as well, and damage is going to start racking up quite a lot here. Okay, we go again. We're going to go with her skill 1. Now that bird is a V6, it's V6 damage. Just know that. Your Springfield, if you only have a V1, is not going to be doing that level of damage. Okay, we're going to just go in here. Let's go with Klukai first. But even without that bird doing the damage, just wait till you see what Tololo can do with a V1 Springfield. Alright, so we've got that on there. Okay, she's good. Go ahead and get that out there. Does he have any... Yeah, he doesn't have anything you need to cleanse specifically from him. And now, Tololo, it is... starts doing some big damage here. So that was a 48,000 hit. 32,000. And then her skill 1. Okay. Unfazed. Now he's about to put his shield up. So this is the really difficult part, because you got to bust through the shield. But you get these boxes that come out that give increase to damage. And so you just want to go out here and grab it. So we're going to start with my Klukai here. We're just going to start right off the bat. Just breaking through the shield. And as you can see, we already did get him down to 83% health before he put the shield up. Okay, bring her back to the group. We'll just go in here with Mishti. Okay, she's good. I probably should have went with her before Klukai, but that's fine. Yeah, let's just go with that attack. Okay, now Tololo. Make sure I grab the ammo. Alright, we should break through the shield with Tololo here. But as you can see, the counterattacks, when he attacks people with that one buff, or debuff, whatever you want to call it, the bird here from Springfield is counterattacking. Now, it's really advantageous with your V6 in Springfield, but you can take advantage of this with someone like Macchiato as well. With his attacking your teammates with his counterattack. Because as you can see, it's not... Now, this is also helpful from Springfield, but it's not really phasing them. If you have, like, Macchiato, you're going to have a Suomi most likely with that team, and those shields are going to keep you alive. So as long as you have good sustain, not going to be a problem at all. Did I... Okay, so I did everything there, right? Yeah. And... I screwed up. Okay. Let me go back. And this is where it's a little tricky. I was not wanting to go with her first. I was wanting to go with her first. You got to remember to keep this buff up on Tololo. If you don't have this buff up, she's not going to get 3 attacks a turn. Okay. Go back in. Okay, now I can go back here. Now everything's going to work correctly. I will say, I have tested out the AI with this, and as long as you have them in the right order, it's pretty good about doing all 3 of them with the AI, if you don't want to have to do this yourself. You just have to have it set up so that Springfield goes before Tololo to get the combo down working correctly. Okay, so we do have the shield broke, which is great. So we'll have a whole nother turn to bust through him damage-wise here. And the debuffs are just starting to rack up of him. Now, he did get his shields back here, but that's fine. And we'll go with this. Oh, okay, your turn ends. Klukai. Come in. Bam. Now we're starting to do that big damage. Those debuffs are really wrecking them. And we're not even getting the one for having 6 units on the field, which is an additional 10% damage increase. But you can't do that with this team yet. Once we have Nikita, we can get that additional damage, plus all the damage that Nikita brings as well for Hydro. Now he's broken, which is perfect. That is setting up for Tololo here. Let's go ahead and just run her ultimate. Now, I do have a lot of the keys that'll self-debuff on the units here. Just so that, like, she self-debuffed this debuff on them. Like, right now, we have 3 stacks in Klukai. As soon as Springfield can do her ult again, I'll cleanse it. You can have this set up so that they're self-cleansing to a certain extent. I may not have the perfect setup here. But it's working good enough for what I need. Okay, now we go with Springfield here. Since we just did this on the last turn, we'll go with skill 1. And then right back on to Lolo for some massive damage here. Ooh, a 77 hit. Yeah, so I did like, what, 170 total damage? 770k total damage in that attack. Not including Springfield's counterattacks, as those are all coming from a V6 Springfield. So I don't really count her when it comes to the damage I'm doing there. But that's also really nice, big damage coming. Okay, we got another shield up here. We got those ammo boxes back. Let's see what we got. Her ultimate is back up. And oh my goodness, is that going to be good for Klukai here? Let's go ahead and just go ahead and do her ultimate immediately so we can cleanse those. Because now they really have racked up those stacks of crit damage increase. Go ahead and put our buff back on Tololo here. And I think we will start, yeah, we'll just start with Mishti, I think. Ultimately, most of the damage is coming from Klukai and Tololo at this point. So then we come out here. Okay, come in, hit. But man, that shield makes this boss pretty tanky. Because this is not counting towards actual damage to him here. But his shield just broke. And Tololo hasn't even hit him yet. Bring her back in. We have the ammo supply. Let's see how hard we can hit him now. Yep, same amount of crazy damage. Well, we got him to 52, 51%. We're on turn 5. But he is a very tanky. Only 49% on turn 5 with all these big numbers. Okay, so let's see. Go with ultimate here. Just kind of throw everything we got at him here. The counterattacks are so nice there. You still have these up here. I probably could have took advantage of them a little bit better than I did for even more damage. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm not too worried about being perfect on this. As you can see, I'm already over 5,000 in terms of score here. So I'm starting to get in, it's not going to go up that much more from this point on. You do have him down to 33% here. Okay. And she still has 3 stacks. I just want to make sure this one is... shared telepathy, 3 stacks of it, so she can... she's still good to go. We don't have to use her skill 2. That's the hardest part for me to keep track of it. Just use her skill 1 here. And then I guess I could just take Tololo up. I wonder if I could get up there. Now, I'm losing out a little bit of damage. I could have set this up a little bit better. It's fine, though. Because now I can actually come up here and pick that up. So I missed out on a little bit of damage on the setup. That's not a big deal. Alright. Down to 25%. We're on turn 6. And we're coming up on our last turn here. He gets a shield on that last turn. Alright. So setup really doesn't matter here. Oh. Okay, let's get that. If it wouldn't be for the shield, easily would have killed him. But that's his mechanic. Shield is gone, so we will get a hit from Tololo here. Now, we will want to use Light Spike on Tololo since she's out of stacks. Get the ammo supply and hit him with everything we got here. See how close we get him. And that's all she wrote. But that is the boss fight, and that is how you can use the Hydro Corrosion team to fight against him at this point. Now, we did get him down to 11%. I definitely made quite a few mistakes here. So, if I clean this up a little bit, I should be able to actually kill this boss. And if I'm actually able to pull that off, I will record it and upload the kill, as definitely using those ammo boxes that give you increased damage will definitely help out a little bit better. Making sure I have the setup maybe a little bit better for cleansing that debuff to get more crit damage might help out. And maybe if I re-rolled also my weapons, because one thing is I have not been using the items to max out the stats on the attachments, so that might help out a little bit. So with some improvements, I definitely could have easily killed this guy with this team, being down to 11%. As you can see, Tololo does crazy damage even without taking into consideration Springfield's V6. Every time you saw a Hydro type damage and then a counterattack come in, that ice damage after, that was the V6 Springfield coming in with those like big 10, 20, 30k hits from the bird. But when you saw that 70k, that was all Tololo. And I don't even have a V4 Tololo. That's the other thing. I have a V2 Tololo. I have not pulled to get her V4. I may do that. I may use my sport or my standard tickets to pull for V4 Tololo, because I probably could kill this guy pretty easily with the V4 Tololo because of all that extra crit rate and crit damage that it brings. And that's pretty much it for now. But before we end this here, I actually ended it. But I know a lot of people like to see this, so let me see if I can get it set up here. This setup I have here is so janky. So got up to 5,800, 5,863 points there. Let's look at the damage stats. So you have Klukai doing a 34,019 damage. Holy crap, Springfield coming in with 31% of the damage, and Tololo at 21.46%. And then you have Peridia at 12.18, and Mishti down there at the very bottom. She brings in some buffs. She makes Peridia do a little bit more damage. But as you can see, the core of this team is Klukai, Springfield, Tololo. Peridia's really, really good on her support actions, but you can really, I mean, these two are decently replaceable to a certain extent, depending on how well they're set up. That's why when Nikita comes, Mishti gets dropped from this team for Nikita, because Nikita is another Tololo, Springfield, Klukai level damage dealer, especially if you take her up to V1. If you take Nikita up to V6, surpassing all of that damage. But that is pretty much it for now. If you like my content, if you could like, comment, subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.